Why do you look so sad? Keep chewing your bone. Welcome back, crew. Today we're going to equip Winnie with this big old thing. So I picked up this Bobcat 225 NT welder. It's a welder generator, so it's got a 20 horsepower Kohler on it. So these Bobcat 225s, these are really nice units. This is a 2005 model according to the serial number. And what's nice about this is you can MIG with it with an accessory, stick, and TIG weld. Personally, I'm really only going to be stick welding and TIG welding. I have my own MIG welder in the shop, and when I'm out in the field, I never really do MIG welding. I'm only stick welding or TIG welding. It has an AC feature if I want to do some like aluminum welding and whatnot. And if I just need it for the generator, I can just start it up and use my outlets for the generator. So this thing's nice. It doesn't sound half bad. It's got higher hours, about 3,000 hours on it, a little over. Let's see what she runs. It's a little cold, but I mean, it starts right up, doesn't sound half bad. I think this thing was very well taken care of. It's really not that bad. It's got some paint overspray, but everything looks pretty good on it. So for the money I paid for it, I'm happy about it. What I think the best option is to place the welder along the bed this way. I was thinking of maybe doing it this way, a long ways here. And I still can do it, but my fear is the gooseneck, because I use my gooseneck quite a bit, and I can adjust the lip of the gooseneck, but I mean, it's 30 inches almost. And if I go up 30 inches, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to catch myself into some trouble here. Let me clean it up and see what's going on. So before I put this generator on my bed, one thing I was thinking about was, how is it going to sound on the bed? Because remember, this is an engine and it's vibrating, and it looks like it's just bolted to the frame of that thing. So aluminum's a little noisy, you know, and my fear is that when I'm running this thing, the whole bed's going to be ringing and maybe vibrating, and that's just going to piss me off. So I was over at the old Tractor Supply, and I saw that they had this mat here. It's called the Red Barn Multi-Purpose Rubber Mat. So it's good for outdoors, snow, whatever. So I'm thinking I would put this mat down first and then bolt the generator to the bed. The other positive thing about doing that is the base of that generator is steel. This is aluminum. Steel and aluminum hate one another, and you're going to get a lot of corrosion between the two. So, I don't know, let's roll this out. But I got to decide, do I tuck the welder in here and make the edge of it here, or do I bring it all the way out to the end and do it here? I guess it doesn't really matter. It would be nice to have like a little working ledge though. Got my barn mat in place, and I think that'll do good. I think. Well, let's get the backhoe and pick up this generator and see what it looks like. the safety wackadoos are gonna like this one. You just can't live without a backhoe. So, do we like this placement? Does this work for Winnie? I think it works. I'm thinking this is what I would want. Part of me likes the fact that if it was this way, I guess I could put my welding reels on the side. But again, it takes up so much bed space then, which would impact my gooseneck. And I could just put my reels here, my welding reels, right? This might be it. This might be what we're doing. I'm going to send a picture to Spanky, see what he thinks. I decided to stick with this orientation. I think the functionality of it, which is most important, is best suited in this position. So I cut the farm mat so that way it fits well. And what I think I'm going to do is put the air compressor on the back side of the generator. So I love this little Milwaukee air compressor. I think it's only like a 3 or 4 gallon tank. It's really not that big, but it generates pressure really quick. So I'm going to start with that one before I put like a real big air tank on. But I think tucking it right behind the generator is a nice good spot for it. I'm going to run the electrical wiring through the generator so that way it looks good. And then I'm going to have to replumb the air line so that way I can hook up the air, so I can hook up the hose reel. So since I'm sticking with this orientation, I'm trying to understand what I think the best method is for mounting all of the reels I'm going to use. So I'm going to have welding reels, like 2 welding reels. I'm going to have an air hose reel as well as an electrical reel. And I can mount them to the bed, but I want to conserve as much bed space as possible. So I'm actually thinking of getting a panel, probably like an aluminum panel or something, and kind of mimicking these holes. That way I have all of my reels bolted to this panel, and that way it's just bolted to like this frame and these panels. Does that make? I think that makes sense. I'd prefer not to drill too many holes in this, and the more holes I drill into this metal, the weaker it's going to get. So thinking if I make one big plate, fasten it to these holes, that should be a big difference. I was looking online, and what I figured would be the easiest thing to do would be to just buy welding lead reels. And so I went online and started looking at a bunch of different welding websites. I looked on Amazon, and welding reels were fucking crazy. I mean, they were like $400 or $500 for welding reels, and nothing was just adding up. It just didn't make any sense. So I started doing some looking around, and what's common, what a lot of people are doing, is they just take air hose reels and they turn them into welding lead reels. Makes perfect sense to me, and I'm going to do the exact same damn thing. So I went on Amazon and I found these Reel Works air hose reels. They seem to be pretty good. They got locking pins on the side here, so that way they're not going to move all over the place. Granted, they are for air hose, so they have like air hose connections, but a reel's a reel. So I'm going to put a link to this in my description, but I'm going to use these reels, these 2 reels. These will be my welding reels. This one over here is a bigger one. That'll be for my air hose reel. I'm going to make a mounting bracket for these hose reels and bolt it through the holes here in to the welder. So it's the next morning, and my aluminum panel I made is nice and dry, and I painted it black, so that way it kind of goes well. And I just put these reels up real quick. Nothing's, you know, tight or fastened, and I can't fasten all the panels up until I get the replacement parts so that the welder will work properly. But I wanted to show you guys what it's gonna pretty much look like. I'm gonna have my welding reels up top. That'll be my air hose reel. That'll be my electrical reel. So the thought is I'd have 100 foot of electric, 100 foot of air, and then 100 of welding cable. You know, 100 of positive, 100 of the negative. And yeah, I think this will work out just good. I think it's going to look good. I don't think it looks too hokey. You know, it sticks out a little bit, but I don't know. I actually don't think it looks too bad. So until those parts come in, what I'm probably going to do next is work on the plumbing connection from the air compressor to here, as well as actually drilling and bolting everything to the bed. So I'm going to do that before I get too crazy. It's been a few days since I installed this thing, but I got the 100 foot of welding leads set up, so I got 100 feet on each spool. I set up 100 foot of extension cord and 100 foot of air line. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I got a little canopy I'm going to put over it to prevent it from snow, and it works pretty good. The Miller ones are just way too expensive for me. I had to get some parts for this thing to I did have to get some parts and fix this thing because it was not generating the proper voltage, nor would it allow me to do welding. So if I'm going to use this thing, it needs to be running. So I had to fix it first, and that's okay. It's like any project. And I just had to put a nice little tractor flap on there. Couldn't help myself. And yeah, so let's fire it up and see how she sounds. Let her warm up. Let's weld with it. And honestly, it puts out a nice weld. Yeah, so this is nice. I'm fucking stoked.